Hello to anybody. Come on down. Come on, people now. Is there anybody out there? Hello, my friends. Hello. Okay. See if anybody notices. And nobody's coming in.
Trucking, got my chips cashed in. Keep trucking, like the Doodah Man. Together, more or less in line. Just keep trucking on.
Arizona and flashing marquees out on Main Street. Chicago, New York, Detroit, and it's all on the same street. A typical city involved in a typical daydream. Hang it up and see what tomorrow brings.
Dallas, got a soft machine. Houston, too close to New Orleans. New York, got the way.
Yep, this isn't going to last long. Do. I'm just sitting here watching the world go round and round. This is what it is. RUIDV. Do. I'm just hanging here. You're hanging out, seeing if anybody comes in. Do, 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 do. Lonely. I'm so lonely. Nobody is coming in. The panels, I've done a few, but then again, too few to mention. Hey, Steve, how's it going? And I moderate my way. I totally forgot to check to see if Finkel put a video up today. I just played here to watch it, but this thing won't let me do 2 tabs at once. So how's your Friday going? Yeah, I'll have to go see what that is later. I looked, I saw there's a title, something about leash laws. I'm sure he could not be mocking me in some way. That would not be nice. Well, that part is true. I just saw a short clip from a British comedian I've never heard of before, but you might like. He said, you know, we used to have an empire run by an emperor. Then we had a kingdom run by a king. And now we have a country. Oh, yeah, but, you know, they charge extra for that down. Golden showers. So I thought since I haven't been on all week, I'd come in and see if anybody was around for a little while. It's been cold here. Hey Siri, what's the temperature?
It's 46 degrees outside.
What is that in Celsius?
Okay, I found this on the web for what is that in Celsius. Check it out.
Yeah. What is 44 Fahrenheit in Celsius?
44 degrees Fahrenheit is 6.67 degrees
So it's
Celsius.
like 7 degrees here. I don't know why you guys have to make the temperature so difficult. Well, it's chill. Because really, it's just getting started. Well, right now it's about 9 p.m. here. It will get colder before the morning comes. Someone told me we had frost last night. Yeah. Yeah, I turned my thermostat up yesterday. Yeah, like in the wintertime, when I start using the heat, I just set the thermostat and leave it there. But then again, I am here day and night also, so it's not like, you know, you go to work, you turn it down till you get home to save or whatever. So, my niece got a new air conditioner this year. They can control it with their phone. So that way, when you're at work and you're going to be headed home, just get on the phone and turn the air conditioner on so it'll be comfortable when you get home instead of having to leave it running all day or anything like that. Oh, boy. Well, nobody else at all has found this. Somebody must have a good show going on somewhere. Because I know people can't be out there having real lives. Oh yeah, that'd be cool. I always liked. I've only ever seen on movies. Never been in a building that does it, but like you walk in the room and the lights come on, and you leave the room and they go off again. Sure, bastards are trying to put me in a cage. I shall not go down easy. If you saw the comments on came in before you and said, "I do not know what this. Don't know how you're supposed to reply to that. I have no idea what this is either." Uh, Windows in this place are pretty shitty. When they remodeled this place years ago, they basically bought all their materials by cost instead of worrying about quality. My one advantage is I live upstairs and my downstairs neighbor does not have an insulated ceiling. So I steal his heat a bit. Hey, Track, how you doing? Uh, nothing like that here, Steve. I wouldn't be surprised if there are places like that, especially places like HOAs. And certainly like commercial buildings that usually have things that they have to live up to. And only thing I can think of around here besides, basic safety requirements would be if a place is on the historical register. And that causes people all kinds of trouble if they try to do any kind of remodeling and stuff because they're not allowed to change it from the way it looked originally. And Track is waiting on the oven. I'm going to guess he's making cheese enchiladas. Only because I haven't had a good enchilada in a long time. That sounds like it'd be nice. No, really. I know cities have like safety codes and things like that. Hey, Nikki. Well, Steve said that he found a way to block any notification on. Not sure what that's all about. Hey,
Hello. No, I did not get a notification.
yeah.
We only have 20 minutes left, so I can still be a pumpkin tonight.
Hey, Dirk. Well, so far my system is holding out. I can't like have a couple of tabs going on this or, you know, bring in any videos or anything like that. But
Right.
after I managed to stay live at your place the other night, I thought, oh, I can probably go on and just do it live if anybody's around.
Yeah, you just you're sitting like I was a couple weeks ago. I can't do
Yeah,
nothing.
I just hope my hard drive's okay because the thing, well, I've really, my editing software, but also like I got all kind of pictures and video clips and stuff like that I like to insert. And I hate to have to rebuild all that stuff.
Yeah. And no, Steve, I wasn't on my phone until now.
Tomorrow might be interesting for anybody who's used to watching my newspaper thing because I figure I'm probably going to just do that live. And I think people, once they see me do it once like that, they're going to appreciate the fact that normally I edit it. There's there's a lot of times by the time I get done editing, and sometimes mostly what I'm editing out is just like I'll say, so uh, I see, and I'll cut out that you know, and a lot of times right there you can save a couple of minutes, and then I'll edit things out like having trouble turning the page because the pages stick together and stuff. So there's a lot of times I'll do like a 20-minute video, and by the time I put it up, it's down to like around 15 just by cutting the junk out of it.
Yeah. So what went wrong with your computer? Why is it at the doctor?
Well, because some fool forgot how old he is and figured he could take the air conditioner out of his window all by himself. And somehow those things have gotten heavier over the years, and he knocked my computer over. And the computer got mad and won't talk to me.
Oh, okay.
I really
And
thought because replaced my air conditioner this year, and the one that was in the window was this great big heavy one that I bought at Sam's years ago. And the newer one was smaller. I thought, yeah, I could probably handle that. Nah.
yeah, I I don't even mess with our air conditioners in the windows. I have other people do it for me.
I'll tell you, the last couple years, I didn't even take my air conditioner out of the window.
Uh-huh.
I just I had plastic over the window and stuff. This year, I thought, anyway. So yeah, I knocked it over. It just At first, I thought it was a monitor problem because the monitor was like all marbled and that, and then I realized it was that the computer just wasn't feeding any information to the monitor.
Maybe you
Although
just
there
knocked
was,
the one connection right there loose.
I checked all the connections and that it didn't seem to. And I know there was like power in the computer just because it was like my headphones lit up, which I don't know why they started lighting up again. And I could see the red light on my camera, but it wasn't like enough to actually run the computer because couldn't hear the fan going or anything. So
Okay.
hopefully they'll just open it up and go, oh, he just knocked this thing loose. But who has that kind of luck?
The air conditioning units in your windows if they were light enough, would make it easy to break in, but they are heavy and you would hear somebody trying to break in.
Yeah, one thing that smart people do, especially if it's on the first floor, is you take a board or something and put it in the window so that, like on top of when you lift the window up, you have it diagonally across the top to make it hard for somebody to lift the window anymore.
Hmm.
Because in order to get the air conditioner out of there, you'd have to lift the window up at least a couple of inches and either try to yank it out or push it in. So if you make it so that the window's locked in place, it makes it hard for people to do that. Now, in my case, if you live on a second floor, you don't worry about it, especially if they really wanted to break in. All they could do is go around to the door that I haven't locked in 20 years.
Gee, that sounds like my house. But of course, I've got the dogs too.
Well, for me, it's kind of like the guy who thought he could still wrestle with the air conditioner.
Hmm.
I still feel like the guy who says, yeah, go ahead. Come on in and try to take my TV. See what you get. So I'll probably be learning that lesson again one of these days, but I do live on the second floor, so it's less likely that anybody's going to come here and bother me anyway.
Right. Well, besides the dogs, I have, my daughter next door who actually was just calling because our neighbor, who's 79, wanted to know if anybody was down at her house because her car doors were open. I said, no, we're not down there, but she is going in and out, getting stuff ready to move because her partner, they weren't married, of 24 years just passed away,
Hmm.
and his family
Oh,
has given her a 15-day notice to vacate.
oh, you know, my niece that lives in New York, I always just call him her husband because it makes it easier. Um, but they have 4 kids together now. They're building a new house. They own the house that they live in. And I did about, I think like around a year ago, I was talking to her the one time and I said to her, it's none of my business and you can ignore the question if you want, but do you have, legal papers drawn up since you're not married? And she said, oh yeah, we took care of all that. So right there, your daughter's the perfect example of why you need to have that kind of thing. I can't believe I've seen that kind of thing before with people, you know, her partner considered that her house, and even
Well,
and
and the
just to
thing
go,
is
you got
he
to be
has,
out by the end of the month.
yeah, he has said, and everybody knows it, including his daughter who's doing this,
Hmm.
that the house is hers until she passes away. I mean, and the house isn't much. It's a double wide trailer built in 1970. So, it's not in that great a shape or whatever, but it's
Yeah,
just the way that they're doing it is baloney.
and you know what? Like to me, if that, if that had been, say, my brother, my father, whatever that died, even if I hated her, it's disrespectful to his memory
Mhm.
because you what he wanted, whether it was in writing or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I hate stuff like that. I've seen that sort of thing so often, like in different ways, where, you know, the family never comes around. The
Mm-hmm.
son hasn't visited in 12 years or whatever. The person dies, all of a sudden they're in there going, oh, well, this belongs to me and this belongs to me. And, you know,
Yeah,
mm,
um they haven't done that yet. Of course she's been like, well, here's the pictures, here's all his important
yeah.
papers, here's, this. They haven't come in and you know, picked, but to do it the way that they're doing it is very disrespectful, is very much full of baloney, and I'm not very happy, and my vindictive mind has been working.
Hmm. I mean,
Because
even,
I've already told her she does not have to leave. They have to have her evicted.
yeah,
A 15-day letter is not even worth the paper it's written on.
even if you did feel like you were entitled to the house and all that, I don't know. Wouldn't a human being, like right now, or like mid-October, you go, um, we're going to need you out the beginning of the year. Something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, or
how,
even next spring.
yeah, because it's like, what are they going to do with it over the winter anyway?
Yeah,
How far is she moving?
we don't know yet. She still hasn't found a place.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, states vary and stuff, but I think the standard is usually you have to give at least 30 days. If you don't have a lease, or anything like that. And then if the
Right.
person
And
fights it, you could stretch it out for a couple of months fighting it and everything.
well, and that's what I'm telling her is number one, you don't have a lease. Okay. There was no
Mhm.
lease. She never paid rent. Um, Technically, they have to get a court date.
Yep. Make them waste money on a lawyer.
That's what I said. I said, make them waste money. They want to be jerks about it. Make them waste money. Make them hire a lawyer. Make them get a court date. It takes at least 30 days to get a court date from the day they file,
Hmm.
which will put you in the middle of November. And because of her age, being, 79, the judge is going to look at them. And because by then we'll have our first hard freeze, the judge is going to look at them and go, oh no, she's got 6 months. Because it's babies and elderly that you have to allow them to stay where they are for the winter. Unless they voluntarily move, which that's what we're trying to convince her to just, even though it's hard, you know, take a couple of bagfuls of her clothes, her important papers, and go move in with her daughter.
Yeah.
Just walk away from it.
I certainly wouldn't worry about leaving the place all clean and everything for them.
Oh no. No, that's what I told her. I said, just take your clothes, walk out one day, turn off the electricity, turn off the water, and leave the refrigerator and everything. Whatever's in there is in there. And I wouldn't even tell them I was gone. I would wait until they got a court date. And then when the judge says they can go in, then, let them have to clean up the mess.
Well, I'll tell you what I did one time. when I was living in Pittsburgh. My mother came home the one day, and there was an envelope on her door, and inside was a note from her landlord saying he wanted her out by the beginning of the month. And as I remember, it was just about this time of year, maybe even a little later, but it was, and she'd been living there for a long time, always paying her rent on time and all that, not causing any trouble. Anyway, he's kicking her out right before the holidays because he's going to move his son to that duplex, which never actually happened. But anyway, so what I did, and I never told my mother, but whenever we were walking out of that place for the last time, it had one of those, it was just like a partial cellar,
Mm-hmm.
and like the back part of the house was just like a crawlway, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so in that like crawlway part where nobody would look, first thing I did was I pinned the TV cable.
Good.
And what that means is you would like stick a pin through the cable because if you cut it, it's easy to find. But if you did it just right with a pin, it interrupts the signal.
Right.
The other thing I did was I took a half a jar of peanut butter and took the lid off and threw it way back under there because you know what really loves peanut butter?
Mice and rats.
Yes, that was my little fuck you. You're going to evict my mother right before a holiday? Anyway,
Yeah, I told her, you know, I, don't worry about anything because I'm sitting here going, she walks out technically until they get the eviction notice. Anytime they show up, the cops can be called and breaking and entering and blah blah
yeah,
blah and I mean, I, the daughter never even really came over. They have no idea what is over there. They, you know, this couple spent more time with me, my kids, and my grandkids than with his family because they're always so busy doing whatever. Um, and it's like because she had a camper, and the daughter expected her to hand the camper to one of her sons, and she sold it so that ticked the daughter off. And now it's like, well, here you go, 15 days to get out. And but then they're telling her, oh, we really don't want you to move, but when you move, I'll have the boys come and help you. We're just worried that you won't be able to make it through the winter here.
hey GMK. Well, there you go. Hey, we got a lawyer in the house.
Yeah, like I said, I've got to find out for sure what the cutoff temperature is as far as evictions go for the area.
Yeah,
But either way, it doesn't matter until there is an actual eviction or she leaves on her own. Um, if she doesn't want them there, she just needs to call and have them trespassed.
oh, I think I forgot to say hello to Dirk, by the way. Remind me to do that later.
I think you already did before this.
No, well, screw him then. Quit your complaining.
He ain't saying hi to you anyway.
I like GMK's avatar. I don't know if that's new or
It's
let's see if I can get it
newer
bigger.
for him, yes.
Oh, I
For
see what it is.
her, I can't make assumptions.
I know that's. Yeah, I like it.
GMK's avatar thing. No, the equality fist. Okay, it's new. Here,
Yeah.
you want the headphones so you can talk? I just got the finger. I'm number one now.
I'm gonna eat me a fucking egg salad sandwich just for that. Kill it. Kill him everything else.
I think he could hear you, mouth.
By the way, did you watch any of the video of the guy you kicked off the panel last night? Yeah, it was just last night, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was last
Or was
night.
Thursday,
Or
yeah.
yeah, I watched about maybe 10, 15 seconds of it.
Yeah, that was me too.
And I said, nope, enough is enough. Until, I mean, yes, he was an idiot. Yes, he was an asshole. However, he has a right to his opinions. And
Oh, I
okay,
totally,
yeah, his opinions
I
suck.
totally agreed with everything you guys did. I mean, yeah, people
In
have a right to be stupid
right,
and have crazy
and
ideas.
until he
Made that veteran
went
comment.
after all veterans,
Yep.
I was like, nope. And I wouldn't even have to wait for the guys.
It was funny because when he said that, my brain went, "Oh, buddy, if this was my panel," and then Cliff goes, "Kick him out."
Yeah. Um,
This Sunday is that Ohio thing, right?
that yes. And she wanted us to come up with questions that we're going to ask so she could have the public documents ready to prove. And I'm still waiting for that.
Speaking of crazy towns, I haven't been paying any attention. Is that still going on with that Illinois mayor, the one that's
Dalton, yeah.
isn't
Tiffany
is it near
Hadner,
Chicago? Yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's near Chicago. Yeah, you could almost walk to Chicago from there.
Yeah,
And
she
you
seemed
would
like a
think that
piece of work.
people in the southern part of Illinois would tell Chicago to create its own state.
The Chicago way.
Something.
It's funny, my town's got 11, 1,200 people. We had a mayor a couple of years ago who wishes she could be Tiffany Henyard. Basically, it's a little piss at us town. And actually, um, you know, they're called boroughs.
Mm-hmm.
And a borough mayor in Pennsylvania has very little power. They are supposed to supervise the police department and the employees to make sure they're doing their job and stuff. It's like the police is their main thing,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't run the meetings except for once a year whenever they do you know, the new council comes in and swear them in. They don't have a vote except in ties. They really, like I say, they have very little power, but this lady thought she was, like Richard Daley or something. You know, she was in charge of everything. And so, yeah, like I said, she was a Tiffany, but she didn't have as much power to do what she would like to. It's just funny how people think they, you know, can do whatever they want.
Yeah. It just, power corrupts, and absolute power absolutely corrupts.
You say that better than Cliff does. He always misquotes it. Every time I've heard him say it, he goes, absolute power corrupts. And I forget how he says it now, but he puts too many absolutes in there. And I'd always be sitting there in chat going, it's power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Get it right, damn it. Anyway, I get annoyed at small things like that.
Oh, you're not the only one.
That's just like when I was sitting on the panel yesterday and people in chat were talking about stuff. And I just felt like reaching out and grabbing somebody by the throat when they said, I seen where this happened. I'm like, I saw, damn it, I saw.
Yeah. I catch myself like, okay, nope, I'm not, I'm not gonna do it.
Or when you say you saw it too, there's two O's and two.
Or is it TWO? TWO.
Yeah, I see that too. And a lot of times, and I don't really, the only times I really grammar Nazi people is one, when it's friends of mine and I know they just did a typo. Because, sometimes my fingers will do that. They'll type things phonetically when they hear my brain say it,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll use the wrong word. And a lot of times you can tell if somebody just typos in that. Or I like to do it when somebody is trying to sound intelligent, especially if somebody says something like, oh, I seen that guy. He was a real idiot. Oh, really? he was an idiot. Now, can I tell you what is wrong with that sentence, Miss Genius? Anyway,
Yeah. Now, I'll be honest. Depending on who I am with at the time will depend on my vernacular.
yeah.
Um, but with that being said, I am also intelligent enough to use the proper words in the proper times and not come across as being, too smart for this group or that I'm dumbing myself down.
Well, I will sometimes purposely be non-grammatical for effect. Like when you say things like, I ain't gonna do it, you know,
Mhm.
or, well, and of course, a lot of times too, I'll do it sort of use like a dumb guy voice in order to illustrate whoever it is I'm making fun of, you know. I can't think of
Right.
a good example right now, but I'll say things like, well, like say it's if it's a conversation about race, I'll say something like, well, them there Negroes,
Yeah.
you know,
No, like I
but
said,
anyway.
I do talk differently depending on who I'm around. If it's just me and Mr. Nakey,
Well, then you got to talk at a third grade level anyway.
pretty much, but I'm not having to worry about using bigger words because he'll just look at me and go, "What the fuck do you mean?" But then when I'm like at work, I have to make sure that I'm very professional
Yeah.
and not saying, hollering off in the background, "Hey, go get my tea," or. And I think we all do that.
Hopefully, it amazes me the people that cannot change vernacular to the crowd. You know what I mean? Like my example, I've used it a lot of times. It's like my father, most of his life, worked construction. And he always worked jobs that were away, and he only came home on weekends. So 5 days a week, he was around construction workers. When he came home, he was not swearing, you know? And so it
Mhm.
amazes me when I'll see some guy and he'll be with, his 4-year-old son, and he'll say something like, you better fucking put that back, you little bastard, stuff like that. That just, I feel like smacking the guy. Or, well, I can remember one of my ex brother in laws one time. My nephew was just like, I don't know, 5 years older, and I forget exactly if he said effing something or what word it was he used. And the brother in law says, see, now where does he pick that up? And I just looked at him and I said,
Hello, pot.
where do you think he learned it from? Just I don't know. But yeah, you know, like I say though, it amazes me that, well, I always remember that night in here when we decided to start making this place PG-13, and that one person was in here. But there was a couple of them. I asked them to keep the swearing down, and one of them did. And the other one rage quit because she's
Mhm.
like, "This is the way I talk," and fucking, you know. And the thing is, she is supposedly an RN, and I thought, does she walk around the hospital saying, well, the mother effing doctor said to do this, you know?
Right.
Anyway,
But, well, you made it past 8:30 or 9:30 your time.
well, I told my sister I'd call her back around 9:45. I
You
can
got 3
stretch it to
minutes.
10 o'clock.
If your sister's anything like me, you better not.
Oh, no, it would be totally expected, actually. And we also, we have great goodbyes. It's like, well, I got to get going. And a half hour later,
Oh, yeah, that's the southern way to say goodbye, It's, well, we better be picking up and getting ready to go, and 10 minutes later you've made it out onto the front porch. Well, it's really been nice seeing you. Oh, do you remember? And 15 minutes later you're at the car door.
GMK, I hate axe. I always hate that one. My sister was telling me when she first started dating the guy that she lives with now, she went up to her daughter's place. They were up there. And she said, well, we got to get going now. And her boyfriend, Bob, went over to get his coat. And my niece's husband said to him, yeah, don't bother. He says, what do you mean? He says, just wait. He says, that was just the first grid. That was just the first goodbye. You got a good half hour yet.
Yeah, I guess I'm guilty of that. The word is ask. Axe is a tool. It's an implement that cuts wood. I don't
And
think I'm racist though.
I could see like why he would say that. I don't think it's really racist though. I think it's, and I mean, it's almost sounds like you're making an excuse. The same thing. I think it's like, what do I want to say, societal, or it's like if you didn't grow up saying it. And,
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, I'll tell you another one I hate. There is no T in cousin. I'll hear people say,
COUSIN.
yeah, I'll hear people say, oh, yeah, I went to the movie with my cousin.
I've never heard that one.
I hear it around here. It must be a thing around here. My thing is, and I was only like a B English student because it wasn't my favorite class. So I didn't pay a whole lot of attention. So that's why I always think, you know, why did I learn more from Mr. Lewis in seventh grade than any of you people did? But anyway, I think part of my thing is too, like my mother was not one for like baby talk or
Hmm.
anything like that, which I didn't realize until I was older and saw her with other kids. So, and which I'm glad because I always think it's weird when you'll be a kid that's like in high school and he'll say, "Oh, good, we're having sketty for lunch today," or paschetti. Paschetti is what for spaghetti.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I've told people this story before. Tell me if I have said it before. My mother, for a few years, she took care of this girl because the mother was a friend of ours. She was a single mother, and like my mother took care of her daughter from like a baby until she started like kindergarten. Anyway, one day when the girl was, I don't know, probably 3 or 2, I don't know, I'm never good at judging that kind of stuff. But anyway, when she was just talking and that, and one day she said to my mother, she always called her Nana. She goes, Nana, Wawa. My mother goes, what? And she's like, Wawa. My mother goes, I don't know what you want. Wawa, Nan. She said, I don't think I have any of that. And she like is pointing to the sink and she goes, Wawa, Wawa. And my mother goes, oh, do you mean water? It's like, yes. So the funny part about it was that now the mother, they lived with her mother. In fact, I think she probably lived in that house all her life. I don't think she ever did not live in her family home. But anyway, that night the grandmother said to little Jennifer, you want a glass of Wawa? And Jennifer looks at her and goes, it's water, Graham.
Mm-hmm.
So so it wasn't until I'd like heard that story that I thought, oh yeah, my mother never did put up with saying those kind of things.
Yeah, and I don't put up with it either. That or the pointing,
Mm.
not using your words. And it's like, no, you have a voice, you use your words. I don't understand pointing. But then again, I've also, you know, the kids next door, they use some sign language only because it was, we taught them that.
Yeah,
So, I feel hypocritical when I say I don't understand pointing, but when they look at me and, give me the sign language for milk or water, it's like, oh, wait a minute. I just told you I don't understand pointing, but yet you're, you know, basically doing the same thing but using words.
yeah, yeah. I'm sure sign language probably was used before language. There would have been a lot more of that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I always remember one of the coolest things. I remember I came home one time and my nephew was at our house and he was watching Sesame Street. Now, this probably had to be like 50 years ago, and they had a deaf person on there and they were using sign language. So, just to see what he'd say, I said, why is that lady waving her arms around like that? And he goes, that's the way she talks. And I just loved how matter of factly he said that. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
thought, no, that's it. Just said so much like about that show. They just presented it as something normal, and so kids grow up thinking, well, yeah, there's some people that have to talk that way. You know,
Yeah.
there are there are some people that are black. There are some that look like a big purple rhinoceros. What the hell is that about?
Yeah. And that's another thing that I've tried to tell my daughter is everything that the kids do, it's something that's learned.
Yeah,
I mean, other than like breathing and blinking and,
yeah,
stuff like that. But anything that comes out of their mouth or their attitudes, well, some of their attitudes, It's learned.
I think a lot of like attitude type things are kind of genetic.
I know for a fact that some attitudes are genetic.
One of
I
my
I
stories, and mm, go ahead.
I have a granddaughter who is the spitting image of her mother with her attitude.
Well, like my family has a genetic trait of sarcasm, and you even notice it with the youngest of them all, except my nephew that lives next door. He's the only one that doesn't seem to have that, but otherwise you'll see him, like 5 years old, and they'll be like really sarcastic. When you talk about like learned behavior, one of my favorite stories, you probably saw it too, because it's actually a couple years old now, went around like Facebook and stuff, was the two boys in kindergarten that went to the barbers together to get the exact same haircut. And then when they went to school, they decided to play a trick on the teacher to see if she could tell who was who. And one kid was black and the other was white.
Yeah.
But as far as they were concerned, they got the same haircut and they looked exactly alike.
Mhm.
So yeah, kids have to be taught the other way. Anyway, I guess I should call her, huh?
Yep. So
Thanks
I'll
for
do
stopping
it.
in.
I'll say good night. Have a wonderful night. I'll see you later, and you're welcome for me stopping in, and goodbye.
Yep. And thanks to anybody that is still in chat, which doesn't seem to be many, but GMK, Mr. Nicky, Steve, I forget, oh, Track stopped in. And I'm going to hit the end now because, unlike Cliff, I know I don't have to play the outro myself.